All right, let's dive right into this explainer. We are doing something a little different and, honestly, incredibly fun today. We're going to take our highly structured, deeply analytical format and apply it to something that is the absolute polar opposite. We are looking at the completely unscripted, unfiltered, and entirely chaotic live stream of internet personality iShowSpeed navigating the Bahamas. We're going to break down this journey step by step, analyzing exactly how a simple cultural tour rapidly devolves into a high-stakes, purely adrenaline-fueled survival mission. Right out the gate, this quote brilliantly captures his wildly unhinged goal for the trip. I mean, before he even gets out of the welcoming committee, he establishes the stakes. He is definitely not here for a relaxing beach vacation. He actively states his primary objective is to be bitten by an apex predator. And this statement isn't just some throwaway joke. It literally sets a ticking clock for an escalating adventure. As we go through this whole journey, keep this ultimate goal in mind, because every chaotic step he takes brings him that much closer to the water.
But before we get to the sharks, the journey kicks off with a classic call to adventure. Speed is immediately introduced to localized pride and the deep cultural significance of the numbers 242. This isn't just an area code, it's a badge of identity. 242 to the world, his guides tell him. This is really step one of his cultural immersion, grounding him in the actual identity of the islands before the madness truly begins.
And we quickly see those trials of integration begin. The cultural ambassador hands him a conch shell. Now it's an iconic Bahamian symbol, used in their famous salads, but historically it's blown like a trumpet. Speed, eager to prove himself, attempts to blow the shell, and he fails, repeatedly, getting more and more lightheaded, eventually shouting that he's about to pass out. It's a hilarious, literal lack of breath that proves adapting to a new culture requires just a bit more than pure enthusiasm.
From there, the cultural immersion just moves at this blistering, almost surreal pace. I mean, these events happen entirely back-to-back. One minute, he is bowing down in respect to one of the original creators of the legendary track Who Let the Dogs Out, crowning him Bahamian music royalty. The next minute, he is aggressively limbo dancing under a literal flaming stick, challenging the locals on exactly how low he can go. And then, he's face to beak with a highly stubborn parrot named Rio, aggressively trying to force the bird to say his name. He doesn't just observe the culture, he throws himself headfirst into the fire.
This cultural blitz quickly turns into what I can only describe as pure psychological warfare. Speed isn't just reacting to his environment, he actively tries to manipulate it. He walks up to a local DJ and intentionally delivers a massive, nonsensical monologue combining quantum physics, the four-dimensional world, and Baltimore Ravens linebacker Ray Lewis. The DJ, utterly baffled, just responds with, "Hello, how are you?" It so brilliantly illustrates Speed's unique brand of social interaction, using absolute confusing absurdity for his own live-streamed amusement. And amidst all of this chaos, he somehow finds time for a completely bizarre romantic subplot. He crosses paths with Miss Wendy, a 71-year-old third-generation straw vendor who confidently declares she is single and actively looking for a husband. Rather than backing down, Speed leans right in. He dodges her advances but flirts right back with the enthusiastic matriarch, assuring her he wouldn't cheat on her. It's exactly these sudden, unpredictable human connections that make his stream so compelling to watch.
Section 1. The Abyss. Lunch in the Sky.
Leaving the safety of the markets behind, the group attempts a precarious dining experience suspended by a giant crane. And as that dining platform rises into the sky, the realization of danger scales exponentially. At 5 seconds, the wind catches them and the swinging begins. By 15 seconds, Speed is audibly reading the liability waiver out loud, openly acknowledging the inherent risks of crane operations and wind. And right at the 30-second mark, true panic sets in as he realizes out loud that he has absolutely no life insurance. The bravado completely vanishes when you're suspended hundreds of feet in the air with no safety net.
While this segment reaches a pretty grim, abrupt conclusion, the swinging and the sheer heights take their toll, and altitude sickness strikes hard. Speed's own father succumbs to the dizzying heights, resulting in a visceral, physical reaction right there on the platform. It provides a very harsh, unscripted lesson in human limits. You really can't out-hype gravity and vertigo.
Section 2. The Mentorship. Safely back on solid ground, Speed finds a guide at the fort in the form of a highly eccentric local claiming to be Captain Isaac Honeyman. The captain provides a surprisingly educational breakdown of ruthless 18th-century pirate tactics. You see, pirates wouldn't just attack ships at sea, they would literally weaponize local infrastructure. They'd take over the oldest lighthouse on Hog Island, alter the light's direction, and intentionally guide massive, unsuspecting ships directly into shallow sandbars and jagged coral reefs. It was brilliant, terrifying, and deeply fascinating historical warfare. Armed with this dark historical context, the captain decides to teach Speed Bohemian Martial Arts 101. And as you'll quickly realize, it is entirely psychological. You don't throw a punch, you point your hand directly at your adversary and yell the local phrase, "Boy, I flickin'." The entire martial art is based on relying on pure fear and confusing your enemies so much that they simply back down. Speed practices this passionately, fully adopting his new pirate persona.
So the mentorship is supposed to wrap up with this massive, triumphant initiation, firing one of the remaining historical cannons at the fort. Speed screams at the top of his lungs, hypes up the chat, smashes the launch button, and it ends in complete mechanical failure. Nothing happens. The cannon is broken. And this brilliantly illustrates the reality of unscripted content. Sometimes the absolute biggest buildups end in a hilarious, awkward silence.
Section 3. The Ultimate Ordeal. Swimming with Sharks.
The crucial point of this entire journey finally arrives, a literal life-or-death climax in the ocean. Dropping his usual comedic, hyperactive facade for a brief, sobering moment, Speed addresses his audience. He says, "We about to really swim with some sharks. Like actually, like no cage, no nothing." He acknowledges this could literally be the last time he speaks to them. The stark, undeniable reality of diving into open water with wild predators without a protective cage finally sets in. The joke from the very beginning of the trip is now a terrifying reality.
The absolute second he hits the water, complete chaos breaks out. Multiple sharks immediately begin circulating the group. This isn't some passive viewing experience from a safe distance. The sharks are on the ocean floor, they are swimming directly overhead, and they are making actual physical contact. Speed screams through his underwater gear that a shark has physically hit his head. Another one bites a guide's finger. It is pure, unadulterated survival mode caught on camera.
And in what might literally be the most absurd moment of this entire explainer, Speed yields to panic and does the only thing a famous streamer knows how to do. He calls for his security guard. "Harry, get the sharks out the way," he screams underwater. He desperately commands his human bodyguard to act as a literal bouncer against apex marine predators. "We got security in the ocean," he yells, which perfectly captures the collision of modern celebrity culture with the raw, uncaring forces of nature.
But miraculously, he survives his ultimate ordeal. The sharks disperse, and just before the stream cuts out, while swimming back, he stumbles across a mysterious sunken treasure chest right on the ocean floor. The stream ends on this massive cliffhanger as he screams about the chest. So I'll leave you with this provocative thought to take away. We don't actually know what was physically inside that box. But in a modern world filled with highly scripted, predictable media, isn't the true treasure simply the willingness to dive headfirst into this kind of unscripted, unfiltered, beautiful chaos? Think about it. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you on the next one.